Hello staff and welcome to the 21-22 school year kickoff. Though this is not the opening that we had envisioned and anticipated back in June, one thing is for sure, we're going to continue to rise above and roll with the punches this year. So we are outside Greensboro Elementary School, the new Greensboro Elementary School, an absolutely beautiful building. If you happen to see workers walking around through some of the shots or you hear some noises, it's just the buzz of getting ready for everybody to come back, as is happening in every one of our buildings this time of year, as I'm sure you all are aware. Wanted to let you know that we are excited for our return and looking forward to an amazing year. So how did we choose the new Greensboro? Besides it being just a beautiful site, Greensboro Elementary School is going to be a beautiful building filled with lots of new memories, lots of great experiences for our students, and will serve our community well for decades to come. However, doesn't mean we don't bring the traditions, the stories, the people, the teamwork, the essence of the green gem from the old building next door over into the new. Kind of like how we've survived through the COVID pandemic during the 2021 school year and even the end of the 19 school year. Us working together through the pandemic last school year, and as we begin this year, we learned a lot of things about ourselves and our students that were both surprising and wonderful, and some things that definitely presented some challenges. As we move into this school year, we're going to hold on to those best practices and those things that we learned, such as we've got amazing staff. We have amazing, dedicated people that love our kids and give their all. We have amazing students who persevere regardless of the challenges and will be gracing our doors on September 1st, smiles and all, ready to learn for a full school year. And we have an amazing community that supported us through all of those challenges. And we will draw on this connection between our team of staff, our parents, and our kids to really overcome and rise above any challenge that faces us this school year. I'm so looking forward to our school year, and I can't wait to continue this conversation inside the new building. So welcome back. We're coming to you from inside the beautiful Greensboro Elementary School to continue our welcome back message. Before I begin any of our comments about our goals this year, I do want to let you know that I am thrilled and absolutely honored to be serving each and every one of you and our community and all of our students in this interim superintendent role. I love this county, dedicated to each of you, dedicated to our community and our kids, and look to have an amazing year and hopefully leave a good mark on all of our students as we move forward. So as we talk about the welcome back message, typically we spend time talking about what are our goals for the year, what's our priorities, what are we going to work on, what are we going to be passionate about. First and foremost, I'll tell you, students, we're going to be passionate about our kids. We are dedicated, obviously, doing everything we can for them to have an amazing and successful school year. We do that by all of us working together to support all of the efforts in the classrooms. All of our frontline staff, you do the hard work. Our role is to follow that up and support you in everything that we can do to make sure it comes across in the classroom and our kids leave better prepared. So what does that look like? I'm going to draw your attention back to our strategic plan. For those of you who've been with Caroline County for a few years, in 2020, Caroline County Public Schools went through a process of developing our strategic plan. We came up with a mission, a vision, goals, and core values for what it means to be a successful school system. During that time, we developed a clear vision that I think still holds true to today. And that vision is, we envision that every student will be prepared, empowered, and inspired to thrive in an ever-changing world. Nothing could be more relevant today with our students coming back from the changes that all of us encountered to make sure that our students are resilient, have the grit, and the skills to be successful in the future years. So if you're looking at what we're going to be doing to accomplish that this year, we're going to be rolling out support to all of our teachers, implementing our core values, building trust amongst our staff, our community, our administrators, and with our kids and our families. Working together with all of us through this, no matter what challenges present themselves, will position us for every one of our kids to have a much better future. If we do our part and prepare our students, our community grows, our community thrives, and we continue to feed that and build as a school system. Those are what we need to be passionate about as we build into this school year. That starts from day one, with being that smiling person, welcoming our kids back in, as I know you will. Taking our new teachers, our new staff, showing them the Caroline family way, and building that team mentality, that family mentality that we so need and so do such a great job with, and really build them in and bring them into our fold. During this year, there will be challenges. I have no doubt. There are challenges we don't know, we can't expect, we can't anticipate. But one thing I do know, all of us working together as a team, not a me show, a we show, us working together as a team will be what it takes to achieve for every one of our kids. I hope everybody has a fantastic school year. I cannot wait to see you around on the first day of school. As the kids show up, I'll be one of the smiling faces out there in the bus loops, probably just as happy as the kids are. If you ever want to know what makes me happy, it really is seeing those smiling faces back in. None of us got into this profession to teach kids to a computer. None of us got into this profession to spend time in our offices. It's all about the kids. And that should be driving everything we do on a daily basis. Again, I look forward to working with each and every one of you, and I hope we all have a fantastic and wonderful year. We will rise to every occasion and every challenge that comes before us, because we can, because we're family, and that's what we do. Thank you.
My name is Larry Porter. I'm president of the Caroline County Commissioners. I'm a lifelong resident of Caroline County, born and raised. Grew up in Greensboro and now live in Denton. Coming from middle school, I was the first class in the 9th grade where schools were combined, where people from other towns, from other schools were coming to one school. My middle school years were a little bit rough. I wasn't happy with the class that I was in. I wanted to be with my friends. I got put with people from other towns that I didn't know. And it was a little bit of a transition year. When I got to North Carolina High School, I had two people who were very influential on me when I came to high school. One was John Nasir, who was my history teacher, who later became vice principal and continues to be a friend and a mentor to me. The other was Mrs. Frances Ricketts, who was an English teacher, who I really was scared of, to be honest with you, and she really made me understand the correct way to act and the correct way to do things by being a very strong role model. She was very adamant that you acted properly, you behaved, you learned, and she was really a very strong influence to me. Even today, she passed away some years ago, but even after I was married and had children, we got a phone call one day, and my wife, who also attended North Carolina High School, said, "It's Mrs. Ricketts, what have you done now?" And I'm like, "I don't know." So she goes, "Larry, I'm doing a program called the Gold Star program, where they had alumni come back to the school and talk to juniors about career choices and trying to remain in the area and so on." And I'll never forget, she said, "You will be there, you will be punctual, and you will speak coherently." And I'm like, "Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am." So, and I did. And but there was just something about her, and I know I'm not the only person. There was just something about her that made you want to please her, that made you want to, do things that you thought she would approve of. I would certainly hope that as new teachers and current teachers go forward with their careers, be an influence on someone like that. I mean, I think that's a great thing to strive for, and to be to have an impact on your students, not only while they're in school, but when they get to be much older and go about their lives, to still be able to think back and think about them fondly.
When I was in high school, one day they mentioned that there was going to be a Maryland State Police recruiter coming to the school. I really hadn't thought a whole lot about the state police at that point or going into law enforcement. Went down to the meeting just to kind of hear what he had to say. I'll never forget how sharp that guy looked when he walked in the room. He was very friendly, calm, very professional. Sat there and listened to what he had to say that day, and just found it really, really interesting. Started thinking about it more and more, and next thing you know, it felt like that life purpose that you're called to do, and started working on going into Maryland State Police. Went in not too many years after graduation, spent 28 years in the Maryland State Police. That, after I retired, led to a career in the sheriff's office after getting elected here. And, you know, I kind of think that day was maybe a pivotal point for me. Maybe if I'd ever thought about going into law enforcement, it never really kicked in. But listening to him in that school that day just really grabbed my interest. I remember that was a part of a career day where they had different speakers come in from different professions, and they had their own room. They took a group of us in there. As a matter of fact, another young man that was in there that day went on to become a trooper as well and served his entire career in the Maryland State Police.
Once I got on the board, I realized how special being a teacher is, that years and decades and generations later, people were coming up to these people and talking to them, these teachers, and talking about how they touched them, how they lifted them up. I don't know how many jobs have that long time emotional satisfaction. Sometimes that does offset some of the other frustrations that come with any job. But, you know, you need those emotional connections, and I don't know too many careers that have them like teachers.
Many people will find this surprising, but when I was in high school, I did not talk at all. I was pretty quiet, and I was the quiet kid in the room. And I had already decided by 11th grade that I was going to be a teacher, specifically an English teacher. And I had done a research project for another content. And the paper itself was fine, but I had used sources from the same magazine at the time. And the teacher gave me a poor grade because I had not used sources from multiple magazines. So I went to my English teacher, Mrs. Persley, and I asked her, how could I improve? Did I do something wrong? You know, I want to understand the process. And she told me unequivocally that that other teacher was incorrect, and that I was to go and speak to that person and let them know that she said that I should get a higher grade. And I was terrified. And I went and I spoke to the teacher, and he said, well, if Mrs. Persley says that's accurate and you did it correctly, then that must be so. And I ended up getting an A on the paper. And I mention this because Mrs. Persley, Mrs. Julie Persley, is the reason that I'm a teacher. And we went on to work together as colleagues at North Carolina High School, and we're dear, dear friends. And she is the one that got me to this point. That incident helped impact me in the way that I am as a person, because I was able to advocate for myself. It was a baby step towards that. I didn't get comfortable in my skin maybe until about my second or third year teaching, but it helped me to learn that I do need to advocate for myself. And if I feel that there is something that I could do better, or something that I could gain by doing so, that it's important to do so. Last year was very, very difficult for all of us, and we talk a lot about social emotional learning and self-care for our students. We can't give to our students without giving to ourselves first. And it is vitally important that we all feel comfortable taking our PTO, our paid time off, when we feel like it is too much. Sometimes we need a mental health day, and that's okay. You shouldn't be fearful of doing that for yourself if it means that a colleague has to cover your class. It is what it is. We have to get rid of that stigma, because when we are burnt out, we can't be our best in the classroom. And I think that going into this year, we're not behind. A lot of people say kids are behind. We're not behind. We're right where we need to be. And we are going to teach whoever's in front of us to the best of our ability. And we are going to work on ourselves to make sure that we are able to do the job effectively. But it has to start with us taking the time to care for ourselves. And we're all here for students. We all know that. But we have to be for ourselves too. We have to do what's best for us.
So when I was in 6th grade, I had a teacher from India. It was a wonderful teacher named Christine Angi. She inspired me to write my first essay for a contest. I had never done anything like that before in my life, and I ended up winning the first prize with it. And she really encouraged me to go out there and take a chance. I mean, I was always a good student, but this was something that I took that was that helped me to kind of, in my future endeavors, to become a little more daring, a little more, outgoing with that, because I was very shy when I was younger. And I ended up winning the contest, and it was a wonderful experience. And then since then, I've been, more daring in terms of my, going out and trying for new opportunities, and whether it be in my profession or whether it be in my personal life. And I'm a singer as well as a teacher, so I do performing. So I think that's something that started with this moment with this one teacher. Having had that experience with that teacher and taking those chances, I think impacts my teaching, because I know that there are different student learning types and personality types in my classroom, and not everybody is like me, outgoing and having the experiences that I've had. So I oftentimes will work with those students that seem a little bit more withdrawn, and try to pull out of them their personal best, their, taking chances, because that's what foreign languages are all about, is taking chances, making mistakes, and learning from them.
I was thinking about this question about an experience of a teacher or a student that affected me, and I've had a 17-year career, so there was a lot of situations to think about. But the one that I thought about the most was more of a global situation that was what we experienced last year in Caroline County Public Schools, being the principal of Preston Elementary School. So going into last year, there were a lot of unknown factors, from how were we going to do this, what was our schedule going to look like, how were the kids going to come to school, eat, just so many things that run through your mind as a principal. And I'm a firm believer that principals get way too much credit and probably way too much blame. But all the credit goes to my teachers and my students and my community to see how they came together last year to make sure that the kids got an education that I believe was as wonderful and as impactful as we could have made it based on the situation. That inspired me, and it reminded me of my why as to why I do this after 17 years. Because sometimes you find yourself falling into that routine where it's like, okay, get up, get the kids ready, make breakfast, all that, and you just kind of go through the motions. But seeing them come together, and the care and the love and the integrity and what they did for those kids day in and day out, my entire staff, from my support staff positions to the teachers, to my cafeteria workers, to my custodians, they all came together to make sure that those kids had a safe and loving environment that they could come to school, even if that environment was on their couch at home, or if it was 6 feet socially distanced behind masks and plexiglass, or finally when they were able to, take the masks off a little bit when they were in the cafeteria and be kids again for just a few minutes. So that's my rise above moment, because it is kind of indicative of the times we live in. And even though you can look out at the news and see a lot of, things that sometimes make you shake your head about the world, you don't have to look too far to find things that remind you about why we do what we do.
I know Jen because we've had the opportunity to work side by side in our school health program for years. I started with Chop Tank and at Greensboro about 10 years ago, and Jen was in her role as the director of school health. And so we've worked together on school-based health center programming, but then in the midst of the pandemic, Jen and I got to spend even more time together as we were both assigned a seat in the Emergency Operations Center, and then have continued to work, together a lot to manage all of the things that have popped up within the school system during the last 17 months of COVID. Jen is awesome because Jen does the things, and she does the things during the workday, and she does the things on the weekend, and she does the things that nobody knows she's doing because she's readily available to the staff, to the families, to my school-based health center providers, to just about anyone. And she does it because it's what she wants to do. It's where her heart is. She cares so much about the families in this county, and that really shines through in the work that she does for CCPS. It's just an absolute pleasure to work with someone like that who, doesn't need anyone's help, but just works hard all the time, and does it because it's the right thing to do and it's what the community needs. Well, Jen's sort of been my unsung hero, for the last 17 months. So I think Jen's really deserving of an unsung hero award. Like I said, no one knows the kind of work and the kind of time and the kind of energy that Jen has put into her job when it changed dramatically during a pandemic. So she has had to do things that I am quite certain she did not think that she had ever, signed up for. And she's done it with patience, and she's done it with kindness. And she's really just put her whole self into it, and certainly without a whole lot of praise for the work that she's done. So I'm really excited that Jen's being awarded such something that really just kind of defines who she is and what she does, because she certainly has been an unsung hero for CCPS over the last year and a half.
I have known Jen for many years. Way before we ever came to Caroline County Public Schools, we worked at Easton Hospital. She's a dedicated professional way back when, and she still is now. She knows what it's like to be a school nurse. She knows what it's like to be in the health room on a daily basis. And because she knows that, she's constantly checking in on us and making sure that we're doing what we need to do, and we have the tools we need to have to be successful at it. COVID was tricky for a lot of people. I have to say, from my standpoint as a school nurse, I feel like, Jen gave us a lot of direction. She helped us know what our role was as our role was changing and evolving. And I think that was really helpful, because it was difficult because the standards kept changing, the guidance kept changing, which was frustrating. And she kept us up to date and kept us where we needed to be able to provide reasonable and information that was timely and correct. I think Jen is deserving of this award because I've watched her in the almost 18 months that we've been living with COVID work tirelessly for the people of Caroline County, for our students of Caroline County Public Schools, and for the employees. I know the countless hours that she put in. I know that there were 7 days a week. The phone would ring even well past 5 o'clock on the weekends, and she was there always imparting the information that she had. She was there calming, I think, fears of people who were talking with her, and giving the information that she had, the knowledge that she had, as well as being empathetic and listening to what people had to say, which are all qualities, I think, of a good nurse.
Really, we were talking about the impact on the school system from last year for the pandemic, and we know that everybody really stepped it up. Everybody rose above. Everybody dug in and did everything they could. But to be honest, there was one person who really went above and beyond, from our March 13th call to show up to the EOC, and literally doing that, as well as everything to keep the school system safe, keep our kids safe, keep every staff member safe, the phone calls, the weekends, the nights, even if you tried to get away, all the phone calls, the coordination with Chop Tank Health. I cannot say enough.
The effort, my
Jen,
team effort.
the team effort,
yes.
You guys all working with Jen, really cannot say enough. Last year would not have been the success that it was if it wasn't for your efforts and your leadership.
Thank you.
This year, we would not be in this position to be able to open for all of our kids to come back if it wasn't for your persistence and leadership as well, and constant direction for me and guidance, and really pulling everything together. And honestly, it's our confidence in you. So we are presenting Jen with the first ever, we believe it's the first ever Unsung Hero Award for a staff member for really all that she's done over the last year, and I know you'll continue to do. So on behalf of everybody in the school system, Jen, I want to present you with your Unsung Hero Award, which states for her unwavering courage, compassion, perseverance, and selflessness during the pandemic and beyond. And Jen, we love you. We appreciate everything that you've done.
I couldn't do it without all of you and the support from top down to the schools, and I'm just so appreciative. We're a team and a family, and we'll get through this.
That we will, and we'll be better off for it. So thank you very much, Jen. Here's your award. Look, they even match your outfit. Perfect. Worked out well. But Jen, thank you so much for everything, and I know you're going to kill me later for putting you on the spot. But again, at least it's not in front of everybody, but
It's true.
the video will be part of the opening that goes out to everybody for Friday, so everybody in the school system will be able to see this. and hopefully we'll be able to recognize and honor everything that you've done. So thank you.
As this year comes about, we welcome all of the teachers back, especially the new teachers. You've come to a great county. You're going to enjoy it here. You're going to love the staff and working here. And we just welcome you. And the Caroline County Sheriff's Office is always here to support you. We have our school resource officers there to work with you every day, and many, many resources to back them up. So anything you need, just reach out to us and we're there for you.
So what I would like the teachers of Caroline County to know is that the Administrators and Supervisors Association of Caroline County is here for you like we've always been. And I think that our partnership is one that is special and has always been one that is close. Every building has its own unique personality and its own unique feel, but we are a small county, and I think that is always to our benefit because we are a family. We talk about that all the time, and it's truly how we live our day-to-day life. Never feel that you can come into one of our offices to approach us about anything that's going on in your personal lives or your professional lives, and we may not always have the answer, but we will find the answer together and we'll work through whatever problem. I think last year proved that we can rise above anything that we do. So trust in us and we'll trust in you and we'll get through this.
I want to wish each teacher, IA, custodian, secretary, anyone in Caroline County Public Schools a great school year. I hope that we can turn the somewhat negativity of last year in going through the pandemic into a positive experience this year, kind of a rebirth, a rejuvenation, and that we all put our best foot forward and do the best that we can.
What would I like to say to teachers on their first day back for 2021? Well, welcome back. Like anything, we know it's going to have challenges, and as we always have, I know we'll rise above and work through it. Let's just focus on what we know our kids need is their emotional needs, as well as reading, writing, arithmetic. That's what everybody needs as we move forward. So good luck and thank you.
Welcome back to those of you that have been here before. We look forward to a great school year. If CCEA can help in any way, please let me know. I can be reached by my school email, anderson.amy@ccpsstaff.org. I'm at Colonel High, so reach out if you need anything. Have a great year.